she used the California law as background for her dismissal.
It's a huge risk, and so it's not a fair fight. They're going into this with uneven risks on either.
Welcome to CelebRush, your daily dose of wild celebrity chaos. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment to let us know what you think of today's drama. Blake Lively is losing it. She's throwing a full-blown meltdown after a judge torched her latest courtroom trick. She tried to play it slick, but this time it's coming off as straight-up shady.
Just that in this case, it looks abusive.
Maybe even abusive. But wait, it gets worse. Ryan Reynolds? Yeah, the beloved funny guy? He's catching heat for dragging his 7-year-old daughter into his madness. Word is, he allegedly coached her into saying a seriously messed up line in Deadpool and Wolverine.
He's basically looking at his 7-year-old and being like, well, if you're not gonna have what it takes to read this line, which happens to be about, you know, Wolverine's penis, then I'll just go find another actor. Total sicko, the exact opposite in my viewpoint.
People are shocked, calling it totally inappropriate. At the messy center of this Hollywood circus, accusations of sexual harassment, explosive defamation, revenge lawsuits, and a court system scrambling to make sense of a brand new law. Meanwhile, these A-listers cry foul, all while sipping matcha and calling their glam teams. This legal firestorm kicked off after California introduced a controversial new law on January 1st, 2020, the Code of Civil Procedure 47.1. And this thing? It's wild. It's basically a legal force field for anyone tossing out accusations, with zero risk of getting sued in return. Lively's weapon? That very law. She's swinging it like a sword, trying to kill off a major defamation countersuit from her ex-friend. The law was meant to protect survivors. But now it's being flipped into a legal shield to shut people down before they can even speak up. As one insider put it, this law is like giving someone a VIP pass to accuse you of anything, then slamming the courthouse doors shut if you dare defend yourself.
Blake has expectedly filed to be dismissed from the lawsuit against her. Her argument that she is presenting is that the lawsuit in and of itself is illegal, okay, because the matter at hand is pertaining to sexual harassment.
And guess what? The strategy actually works. Now, Bald has to prove actual malice in court. Not just that she lied, but that she knew she was lying and did it with full-blown evil intent. That's no easy task when the law is basically protecting the courtroom version of gaslighting. It's like saying, yeah, she might have twisted the truth, but hey, if she believes it, then it's all good. And the stakes? Brutal. If Bald doesn't win, he's not just walking out with hurt pride, he'll be the one footing the bill for her legal team, which, let's be real, probably costs more than a private island. On top of that, he could be slammed with punitive damages, and maybe even triple damages if the court feels extra savage. So, not only does he risk his reputation, but he might also lose his company, his bank account, and any desire to ever speak up again. It's like financial and social annihilation, all because of a law that's flipping the justice system upside down. But hold on, it gets even crazier.
This Me Too law out here in California, Code of Civil Procedure 47.1, is a problem for the Baldoni camp.
How big of a problem is it?
In what some are calling the most manipulative legal play of the decade, her team argued that Bald actually admitted she truly believed what she was saying. That's it. That's their entire defense. She believed her own story, so it couldn't possibly be malicious, right? Because now, delusion equals defense. People aren't falling for it, not for a second. The public sees it crystal clear. This isn't some scared, powerless assistant fighting for justice. This is a Hollywood heavyweight using legal protections meant for the vulnerable like a personal weapon.
She wants the court to use California law. That's her argument. And every federal court has to deal with these conflict of law issues that we call them.
These laws were created for folks with no platform, no publicist, no million-dollar wardrobe. Now, they're being hijacked by stars with luxury stylists, brand partnerships, and red carpet entourages. The whole thing feels dirty, like watching someone use a food pantry drop box to stash their leftover caviar. And the one getting dragged through this storm the hardest? Ryan Reynolds. Yep, the internet's favorite smooth-talking, joke-cracking golden boy. But behind that carefully managed charm and clean-cut PR game, there's something way darker creeping out. Let's talk about the most jaw-dropping twist in this whole scandal: the Deadpool dad move. Word is, Ryan had his 7-year-old daughter, 7, featured in the next Deadpool film. Because sure, what better place for a child to debut her acting chops than in a violent, vulgar, R-rated superhero movie packed with adult jokes and chaos? But it doesn't stop there. It gets so much worse. One of the actual lines in the film? A twisted joke about Hugh Jackman's private parts being in her dad's mouth. No exaggeration. That's the real line they tried to make a 7-year-old girl say. And of course, she didn't want to say it because she's 7 and clearly still has a conscience. So, what did Ryan Reynolds, Hollywood's favorite dad figure, do? Did he step up and protect his daughter? Not even close. He allegedly told her that if she refused, he'd recast her. Yeah, he threatened to replace his own child just to get the line delivered. That's not parenting. That's emotional manipulation served up with a smile. And he didn't even try to hide it. He admitted it out loud, like it was some funny behind-the-scenes moment. Like coercing your child into delivering an inappropriate joke is just another day in the life of a cool, laid-back dad. Then director Sean Levy jumps in, casually revealing they made the poor girl do the line anywhere from 70 to 500 takes. Let that sink in. Hundreds of times repeating something no kid should ever be asked to say. That's not a shoot. That's a mental minefield. And when the child didn't perform the way they wanted, they openly considered replacing her, like she was just another prop on set. But here's where it goes from disturbing to straight up nasty. This same guy, Reynolds, the one behind all this, actually had the nerve to call Justin Baldoni a predator.
And they want us to believe that Justin Baldoni is the creep in all of this. This is running parallel to him shouting at Justin Baldoni in a penthouse about his wife being uncomfortable.
Yep, seriously? He's out here calling Justin Baldoni a predator, while allegedly pushing his own daughter to say wild lines about male body parts, on camera, all for laughs. If irony had fists, it would have decked him by now. And we can't skip over his infamous 12b6 legal filing. Most court motions? Boring legal talk, nothing flashy. But Ryan's? Oh, his read like a WWE promo mixed with a Twitter rant. It was so aggressive, so extra. It felt less like a legal doc and more like a roast battle submission. It honestly didn't sound like it came from a legal team at all.
California law relative to the lawsuit against Lively for defamation is a little problematic. So we have not seen the opposition yet that the Wayfair parties are going to make to the motion to dismiss filed by Lively, but I suspect that they're going to want New York over California law. We'll see what they do.
But is it valid though if the judge says yes, you can use California law in this instance? Could they dismiss his case because of that?
The tone? Personal, bitter, straight up savage. Like Ryan pulled up a chair, cracked his knuckles, and typed out the pettiest, most self-righteous mess the court has ever seen. And if the goal was to humiliate Baldoni instead of just get the case tossed, mission very much accomplished. This is a man whose Deadpool act doesn't stop when the camera's cut. It's leaking into his parenting, into his legal tactics, into real life. And that's not quirky, it's alarming. Sure, the PR machine will try to slap a pretty filter on all of this, but the truth doesn't lie. He allegedly used his own kid like a movie prop. He turned a private workplace fight into a full-blown public attack. And he used his fame like a weapon, so recklessly, it makes the villains in his films look like harmless sidekicks. So no, Ryan Reynolds is not the quirky, lovable underdog everyone's been sold on. He's sitting at the top of Hollywood's food chain, throwing shots while hiding behind sarcastic one-liners and carefully crafted PR charm. But now, thanks to leaked audio, receipts, and an internet that's done playing dumb, that perfect little mask is slipping fast. Let's talk about the real Ryan Reynolds, Or should we say Hollywood's smiling assassin? This guy built his whole empire on being that funny guy. Always joking, always trolling Hugh Jackman, always just a little too clever. Fans ate it up. Look at Ryan being self-aware again. But behind all those gin ads and painfully overhyped superhero movies, a whole different story's unfolding, and it ain't cute. Because off-screen, that quirky persona turns into something way colder. People are saying he's raging, controlling, and ruthless behind closed doors. Sources talk about screaming matches in penthouses, icy threats, and manipulative mind games. And the wildest part? He allegedly called Justin Baldoni a predator, not in court, not on paper, but in private convos with top WME execs. He didn't say it because he had evidence. He didn't say it out of fear. He said it because he could. Because in his world, power means you get to say whatever you want and let the damage follow. It's giving Hollywood Mean Girls, but with millions in the bank and a red carpet wardrobe. Ryan isn't the dorky heartthrob anymore. He's Regina George in a custom-tailored suit, pulling strings from the shadows while smiling for the cameras. And if you thought that was the end of it, think again. Let's talk about the now infamous knife pool character. Let's not play dumb here. That wasn't some edgy satire or clever writing. Ryan Reynolds played a creepy, sleazy character in Deadpool, and later admitted it was inspired by Justin Baldoni. Yep, the same guy he's been mocking in interviews, slamming in private convos, and battling in court. But hey, it's just art, right? Please, just a wild coincidence that the person he's publicly shading just happens to show up as a warped parody in one of the biggest superhero franchises of all time? Come on! That's not comedy. That's personal beef dressed up in a costume and handed a script. It's not satire, it's malice with a makeup budget. These jokes he's always cracking? Not jokes. The sarcasm? Not clever. It's real-life grudges buried under punchlines, then shipped off as entertainment to a fan base that still sees him as the lovable goofball. And Reynolds? He's that guy who throws the rock, ducks behind a tree, then steps out and smirks for the camera like nothing happened. The act is slick, but it's wearing thin. Real thin. Ryan Reynolds doesn't just clap back, he engineers entire narratives from the ground up and walks away clean because everyone's too distracted laughing at his tweets. But don't get it twisted. He's been riding high on the shoulders of Hollywood kingmakers like Ari Emanuel for years. It's easy to throw punches when your inner circle runs the industry, and anyone who dares to push back gets quietly blacklisted, buried under the rug while the cameras roll on your next blockbuster. And speaking of punching down, let's talk about the New York Times. Because this mess, it's not just celeb drama anymore. This has now blown up into full-on Operation B. And her camp claims the Times wasn't just reporting the story, they were co-writing it. According to the team, the Times was already in the mix before Blake Lively even filed her CRD complaint. That's like leaving a Yelp review before the restaurant even opens. We're talking emails, metadata, early drafts. The receipts are rolling in fast, and they're messy. Here's the kicker. That kind of secret coordination, it destroys the shield the media usually hides behind. The fair reporting privilege. That's the one where they say, hey, we're just reporting what's already public, don't blame us. But when you're allegedly in the kitchen cooking up the dish with the chef before the ingredients even arrive, that's not reporting. That's PR warfare. And the dirty kind, too. It's not about facts. It's about takedowns dressed up in just enough legal jargon to pretend it's journalism. Brian Friedman, attorney for B, is not messing around. Legal experts are calling his filings phenomenally sharp, and they're not exaggerating. He's slicing straight through the fake neutrality and dragging the New York Times right into the legal ring, exactly where they belong. For once, the so-called mighty NYT might not get to just observe the destruction of someone's name from the sidelines. They might actually have to face the heat for helping build the wrecking ball in the first place. And here's where it gets real ironic. California law might actually work in B's favor this time. Wild, right? The same law being used to stab him in the back with Blake's dismissal motion might just flip and work for him when it comes to the media angle. But fairness, that's a fantasy in this world. Hollywood's legal scene doesn't do consistency. The court has to decide if this law applies equally to both Lively and The Times, and let's be real, it won't. Tinseltown always plays favorites. And if you really believe Ryan and Blake don't have media connections they can yank whenever they want, that's cute. Now let's talk about the real queenpin of PR chaos, Stephanie Jones. This woman, she could write the playbook on betrayal. Her firm, JonesWorks PR, was supposed to be repping Wayfarer Studios, Justin B's company. But instead of guarding her clients' interests, she allegedly flipped the script and played double agent, acting like Ryan and Blake's personal mole behind the scenes. That's not public relations, that's corporate sabotage with a smile. That's right. According to a lawsuit, Stephanie Jones didn't just cross the line, she bulldozed it. She allegedly got her hands on confidential internal messages by snatching the phone of her own employee, Jennifer Ale, right before Ale left the firm in August 2023. Totally normal behavior, right? But this wasn't some quick screenshot slip-up. Jones brought in the big guns, security, legal counsel, and even a forensic data expert. This wasn't HR business. This was a full-blown covert extraction mission. And surprise, surprise! What magically showed up in Blake Lively's CRD complaint and that New York Times hit piece? Yep, those exact same messages and files. Except now, they'd been altered. Nothing says, "Trust us," like a manipulated digital trail pulled from a phone raid straight out of a spy movie. Jones made her name as a feared force in Hollywood PR. She repped some of the biggest names in the game: Dwayne Johnson, Lauren Sanchez, and even Tom Brady, reportedly. But now, one by one, they're backing away. Quietly, quickly, and you gotta ask why. Maybe because Hollywood finally realized the harsh truth. If the woman you're paying to handle your PR is the PR disaster, you're already in trouble. Jones used to be untouchable. Now she's untouchable in the opposite direction. No one wants to be caught anywhere near her fallout zone. And this all ties back because let's not forget what Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively have been trying to spin to the world, that Justin Baldoni is some kind of creepy, manipulative power player. But with all this coming out, that narrative's looking real shaky. And behind the curtain, it's their team, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's inner circle, allegedly pulling the strings, orchestrating media takedowns, leaking altered messages, threatening a child with recasting, and casually labeling coworkers as predators in whispered conversations with Hollywood insiders. Reynolds didn't just use his influence, he weaponized it. Then he handed that weapon off to his PR crew, the press, and even his own wife, and acted shocked when people started noticing the damage. It all comes full circle. Ryan Reynolds didn't just play Deadpool, he became him. Sarcastic, brutal, calculated. But this ain't a movie. There's no script, no retakes, and no comedic soundtrack to soften the blow. And the people he's hurting? They don't get a sequel to clear their name. There's nothing clever about using your own child in a PR war. Nothing funny about feeding the media edited evidence just to ruin someone's career. There's no heroism in trashing people behind the scenes while serving charm to the public. So the next time Reynolds throws around the word predator, remember who we're really talking about here. The same guy who allegedly pressured his young daughter into saying a vulgar joke on camera just to keep her role. The same guy mocking coworkers from the safety of a billion-dollar franchise. And the same guy hiding behind punchlines while taking aim at people simply trying to defend themselves. The act is tired, the mask is slipping, and the damage? It's real. The real predator? It's not the one fighting to clear his name. It's the one controlling the story before the truth ever gets a chance to breathe. Let's talk about Ari Emanuel. Yeah, that guy. The former Hollywood heavyweight who built WME like a fortress and ruled it with a god complex bigger than any movie star's ego. For years, he was untouchable, the puppet master behind the curtain. But guess what? The so-called kingmaker just got his crown yanked off, and it's not hard to see why. Ari didn't just cross a line, he stomped all over it. He allegedly fired Justin Baldoni with zero professional cause. No misconduct, no contract breach, nothing. Just raw, petty retaliation. All because he wanted to show loyalty to Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. And how do we know? He practically confessed. On the Freakonomics podcast, the one that mysteriously never aired, he reportedly said the quiet part out loud. I can do it, so I did it. That's not leadership. That's ego in a tailored suit. Imagine being so drunk on power that you casually admit to retaliatory firing on a podcast, like it's some kind of mic drop moment. Except, here's the thing. People were recording. That's not bold, that's reckless, that's not loyalty, that's career sabotage dressed up as favoritism. Ari thought he was untouchable. But now? The receipts are catching up, and his throne doesn't look so secure anymore. That casual little quote from Ari? Yeah, it might end up being one of the most damning pieces of evidence in Baldoni's defamation case. He straight up told the world that his decision wasn't based on performance. It was based on loyalty. Translation? He didn't just fire Baldoni. He might have just gift-wrapped a massive damages claim for Baldoni's legal team. We're talking open and shut retaliation, and Ari basically signed the check himself. No need for cross-examination when the guy hands you the motive on a podcast. And karma? Oh, it didn't wait long to make its entrance. Right after Silver Lake came swinging with their massive $25 billion acquisition of Endeavor in early 2025, Ari got the call. And by call, we mean he got shoved out of his CEO seat at WME. That's not a soft transition, that's a boardroom smackdown. Ari, the man who once decided who got the spotlight and who disappeared in Hollywood, is now stuck watching the show from the sidelines. His empire being restructured, his influence fading. The Kingmaker just got checkmated by the very system he used to control. Call it poetic justice. Call it symbolic. Whatever you call it, it's loud, it's clear, and it's earned. Karma pulled up in a designer suit, kicked the door down, and cleared the room. And the fallout? Beautiful. With Ari out, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively just lost one of their biggest Hollywood shields. The safety net is gone, and now the storm's rolling in. The man who once ruined careers with a single phone call? Yeah, he's not pulling the strings anymore. That's not just a shift. That's a full-blown power vacuum, and guess what's rushing in to fill it? Accountability! And Baldoni's case, it just got a major boost. Not just because of Ari's quote, but because it confirms what's been bubbling under the surface all along. This was never about justice. It was about alliances, grudges, and Hollywood cliques playing king of the hill with real lives. This isn't a workplace conflict. It's Hollywood high school, but with billion-dollar studios instead of lockers. And now, let's pause for a second to appreciate the comedy routine Lively's legal team tried to serve in court. We didn't lie, we just didn't tell the whole truth. Oh, please. That's lying by omission, and we've all seen that tired script before. But here comes the finale, the moment where the Hollywood house of cards starts crumbling. Because this lawsuit didn't just reveal internal drama. It exposed an entire system built on fame, media favors, and unchecked power, all being weaponized to destroy people's lives. Ryan Reynolds, once crowned the internet's favorite wisecracker, is now looking more like the final boss of hypocrisy. We're talking about a guy who allegedly forced his own daughter to say a disturbing line on camera, threw dirt on coworkers from the shadows, then turned around and played the victim in public. You don't get to call someone a predator while acting like one behind closed doors. That's not courage. That's delusion wrapped in a smirk. And don't even get started on Blake Lively's calculated play with California's new Me Too law. That law was meant to protect real survivors, not serve as a celebrity shield for throwing around accusations without having to face the fallout. Lively isn't some powerless underdog. She's a multimillionaire actress backed by Hollywood's elite. And now she's twisting a victim-centered law into her own PR weapon. But here's the thing. People are starting to see through the act. The narrative is shifting. And for the first time, the media and the public are asking the right questions. Like, Why were these accusations dropped right in sync with staged PR releases? Why are the key parts of internal messages suspiciously missing? Why is the person they're calling a predator being blacklisted, while the accusers are joking about manipulating their own kids for film dialogue? None of this adds up, unless you see it for what it truly is. A hit job disguised as a victim narrative. From leaked emails and suspicious metadata, to phone raids and off-the-record podcast confessions, the evidence is stacking up. And it's not painting Reynolds and Lively as brave truth-tellers. It's painting them as strategic manipulators, using their fame, influence, and media muscle to crush reputations and silence anyone who pushes back. But now, the machine they've relied on is starting to fall apart, and they're scrambling to keep the illusion alive. The charm offensive is breaking down, and what's left behind isn't pretty. But the tide, it's turning fast. The blind loyalty, the media cover-ups, the smug legal flexes, it's all starting to crack under pressure. The glossy armor is slipping, and now people are finally paying attention. And here's the best part. Nobody's untouchable anymore. Ryan Reynolds can't meme his way out of this one. Blake Lively can't legally twist the truth and hope no one notices. And Ari Emanuel? He can't strong-arm the narrative from a corner office he doesn't even sit in anymore. The truth has entered the chat, and this time, Hollywood might not get to script the ending. The machine they built, the PR spin, the legal shielding, the whisper campaigns, it's malfunctioning. And with every leak, every exposed receipt, every slip-up in court, their grip on the story gets weaker. So don't blink, because this saga is far from over. Subscribe to CelebRush now and make sure you don't miss the next twist in this wild ride. What's coming next might just be the plot twist Hollywood never saw coming.